How's everyone doing on Sunday? Yes. We've been here,
Sunday already.
been here for 3 weeks.
That's what it feels like for sure.
Okay. Well, welcome, Liz. Do you want to just give a quick introduction of yourself and just share who you are, how you got to be an AI expert, maybe your journey of AI?
Sure. Do I have a ruler in my teeth? Okay, good. I think I'm good now. So I lead global AI adoption and advanced analytics under Armour. And before that, I created the AI division at Estée Lauder. And before that, I've been following AI for a long, long time, about a dozen years. And this is a very exciting time. It's almost like I've been waiting for this moment all my life. That's what it feels like. And it's really a very cool moment for people like me who have an untraditional background. I have a lot of humanities and soft skills in my background, which used to be weakness when you judge just by technical certifications and degrees and not just by your accomplishments. And right now it's a moment that if you're only technical and you don't have that analytical aspect of you, that deep thinking, or even the communications aspect of you, you're missing something. So right now is a very interesting moment that everything's been redefined and there is opportunity all around for everyone to be part of the conversation and to be the decision maker of this new processes that are emerging right now.
So I'll do a quick introduction. I'm Andrew Levy. I'm co-founder and CEO of AdPipe. I was a filmmaker for 10 years. Now we combine visual data of footage with performance data to help us understand what to create next. And then a little bit unique, I would like the audience to introduce themselves, but in a different way. So 1, 2, or 3, your AI readiness. Are you a 1, which is just getting started, a 2, somewhere in the middle, or 3, you really feel like you're an expert? So who's at a 1 in the audience? Okay, we got some 1s. Who's 2? Okay, lots of 2s. And any 3s in the audience? 3 is rare in this era. Okay, so let's start out with what is AI? Because a lot of people are saying AI more, but it feels like to me that's like saying internet more in 1999. So can you break down AI and the different parts of the process?
Yeah, we had a really cool workshop here. Was it yesterday? It's going so fast. And one of the things that we did in that workshop was we put an image on the screen that it looks like Lego blocks. And we went over the different layers of AI. And I share with everybody. I'm going to try to describe the feeling of that for you because I think it's a starting point. For me, if you want to learn AI or say I'm at 1, I want to go to a 2, is this image. This image is what was the first kind of AI? It was the experimentation era in which they were trying to make a computer make a decision on its own. And I was a little girl when this thing was going on. And then the layer above that was the machine learning era in which the decisions were being made. They figured it out that if you put all the information in this one specific folder and then you create a list of possible questions to ask the folder, then the computer would then seek the information and give the answer. I started my career in AI in that moment that this started happening. Then on top of that, there is a group of folks that created neural networks. Can I make the machine create its own thoughts and behave like a human brain? They're very strong, and this is all happening alongside, by the way. The Neural Networks Club is the ones that created Alexa, for instance, right? So the founder of Alexa is a good friend of mine. He's also my running coach. This is from running, guys, really fast. And they're still pushing the boundaries of that today. Then came another group on top, the deep learning guys. Can I make the machine be smarter than the humans? So these people, they are the slowest burn here. This conversation has not exploded in our face yet. It's going to be South by Southwest 3 years from now. We're going to be having a panel about what's deep learning. How are we going to be all challenged by this? How our jobs are going to change with deep learning. So calm down. We still have time to talk about this. We got about 3 years before we start getting anxious about this. But they're cooking this cake as we talk. Then on top of that came the Gen AI. We know that one, Gen AI. And this is when I started building my career in AI. Before, I was aware and working with the technology. Now I became a leader of it. I picked this one group to start leading. And on top of that, the last piece that was added as of now is agentic. And listen up, agentic is not Gen AI. I just told you all these other parts. Agentic is the ability to connect these different pieces together. So you can actually take these different pieces and put humans in between and create a process. So see how it made sense? It's not complicated if someone speaks to you in plain English. That's what AI is. The collector of these parts and an understanding that there's more parts that are being created as we speak, and we have to keep up with that, which is a lot of work.
So super overwhelming. A lot of AI, a lot to understand.
I wish I could have been more visual. It's more fun when it's visual.
Yeah, but I think we can generally understand that AI is more than 2 letters. It is a lot of opportunity. So if we can break it down and make it actionable, let's talk about workflow, right? How do we actually use AI? And maybe we can start simple and ways that you've actually brought AI into your life in an interesting way, and maybe some takeaways for the audience of how they can actually use AI in an interesting way.
Where I see, I'm going to speak to the ones and in a way to the twos. I see the ones getting overwhelmed a lot by being really lost on how much they have to keep up with different LLMs and this conversation that I need to try this one and then this one and this one, or they getting too fixated in one kind. And that's not what, I think the awareness of what those LLMs are is good. Take 1 or 2 and really get good at playing with it. Well, not good, just play with it a lot. But that's not where the secret sauce is. The secret sauce is you understanding process, like designing process and revamping process. So that means, and I talk about this a lot here at the Brand Innovators community, about how you can start this conversation at home. Think about the things that you do. If you were to do at work, a task that you do or an aspect of your team, and dude, this work is annoying, but it's really cool. Map out the process in a painstaking way, like every step that you take to build that. That ability to map processes is actually a requirement for you to be an AI executive in any capacity. Understanding what's the current state and what aspect of the process should be automated and how it should be automated and what aspect of the process should be human-led all the way for the foreseeable future. So it's really rethinking how things are done and identifying the areas that need to be changed. And then when you have a bunch of different processes mapped out, having a conversation about how to create a prioritization of where we're going to start, because you can't do everything all at once, right?
That's right. And I don't know, you want to share all your secrets today, but maybe like a specific way you're using AI in your workflow, like an aha moment for you over the last couple of weeks or months. Like I use AI this way, and so that people can say, oh, that's interesting. Maybe I didn't think that I could use AI in that way. Is there an idea that you have that could be interesting for the audience?
I can't mention anything about Under Armour?
Of course. maybe at home.
Okay, fine. I'll give you something that I next year I'll have like something more complex, but for this year, the one that I'm sharing is the process that my family likes the least is planning the meals of the week and who's going to buy what. So every week, every 2 weeks actually, we change the process because this was a conversation every Sunday, what we're going to make next week. And that's annoying. So we made it twice a month. We sit down on the table, mom, dad, everybody, and we talk about the meals that we're going to build for the next 15 days. And we use AI for that. And AI then has already trained in the instructions of the project. You can create projects, right? The kinds of dietary restrictions of each one, members of my family. I don't eat pork. My daughter, Gabby, she likes high quality ingredients. She's very fancy. And my husband doesn't like dairy that much. And he adjusts the things that we are saying to a way that everyone's going to work out. And also he mentions, like, today I'm not there. So today they're eating burgers, which I don't like, because they know that on Sunday mom's not here. And after he creates the menu, it generates the grocery list and it sends to the person. I don't go to Costco. I'm one of those people that cannot go to Costco. My husband loves Costco. He gets a text message of the Costco shopping list twice a month, and he goes to Costco. So when I do this at home and I show up at work, I can utilize at work in a variety of ways. because it's the same process, it's the same thinking of people bringing people to the table. They represent different departments, they have different needs, and then you rethink the way things are done. And the time that saved us to go about this tasks that we not like, it's incredible. That is one process that we changed. There was something that took 6 weeks for the team to do, and it became 3 days. I'm not talking about reduction of human workforce. I'm talking about people being able to accomplish more and create process they are the managers of. You know what I mean? So we're still participating. We're still the AI is a tool in our hand to accomplish what we want faster and better.
Amazing. So, some people raise their hand that they're a 1 on the scale for AI. I want to just highlight something Liz just said, because it's really important for us to go from 1 to 2 specifically. And that's because when she's using AI at home, she's adding context of her dietary restrictions or the things that she likes about food and her family likes about food. That's unique to Liz's family. That's their specific data. And so something about AI is that we all have it. We all have this new superpower. So the only way to make yourself unique is bring interesting information to the AI that your company has. Because if you're just using generic AI, it's the same as your competition, it's the same as your peers, it's the same as everybody else. So let's talk about how we can use AI in our own unique ways. We talked about IP and workflow. Can you tie a bow on that idea for us?
Like thinking about work now, right? So someone asked me today, they gave me an example of like a headline. Yesterday we did a really cool exercise here around headlines. And what I think about that, how does that influence the way we work? Did we change anything because of this headline? The reality right now, you have to look at your own companies and realize what is the business strategy of your own company? What is the taste guidelines of your team? And use AI as a tool for that. I see people talking about AI strategy. And AI strategy can be a distraction. AI should be a tool too. Loud. It's worse than the birds. Worse than the birds. The birds are cool though. To realize a strategy. One thing that it's a theme that's really becoming very strong in 2026 is the realization that we need to focus on taste. And that's why there's headlines from 2 weeks ago that the largest AI companies, they seeking philosophy majors, English majors. What was the other ones? Philosophy, English. Psychology. They want people that really understand that they need to be guardians of taste, guardians of the algorithm of how we're going to use AI in your organization. So this comes from within. So it's good to watch what other companies are doing, but what you all need to do right now is to take stock at your values and what it is that is the goal for the immediate future for your teams, and see how this tool can then guide you. There's decisions that you need to make that are very important right now. How do you use AI in HR? How do you use AI in consumer-facing campaigns? Those are very important topics and decisions that need to be made for most of us this year. And you have the questions. Then on the other field, you have the regulation that's picking up. You have in June now in New York, you have law that we have to comply with, that if you have any campaigns with an AI-created human, you have to label that. Whether it's video or it's a photograph, that has already been in place in EMEA, but not as enforced as it's going to be right now. So all of this is part of the thinking that you have to do and triangulate that. The tech, the tools, the solutions, the partners, the LLMs are really, really cool. But what's key right now is that you need at least 2 kinds of thinkers. You need the thinkers from within that really understand the ethos of what the company is about and the goals of your company is about. And from your partners, you want thinking partners. So I'm buying I think that's important to buy less software. So it's when you go out there, it's less about buying software and recruiting help. You sell solutions, right? And we talked about that. Can you sit with me and think things through instead of just giving me this piece of software? because there's a lot of decisions that we need to make right now. And whatever it is that is a landscape at the time that we sign an SOW, it's going to change in a couple of weeks. Can you be there with me, still thinking with me?
Yeah, I mean, that's something, our company works with mainly Fortune 500 companies. There's no off the shelf. The shelf doesn't exist.
That's over 2025 off the shelf died.
So I want to call something out that you said that we've heard in a lot of panels. We're going to need to label things created with AI. What does that mean? So right now in today's world, you can use computer vision to monitor the performance of your campaign and understand the next right campaign to use. You can then go to a model and say, hey, I have some interesting information. Give me campaign ideas. It can write out campaign ideas. You can take that campaign idea and you can use AI to go search your content to find something that's relevant based on that campaign. You can then edit that together or use generative to create a combination of a piece of content. And then you can put that out to market and you can get it out. So my point is, what is created with AI? We're using AI for every aspect of our life. Where's the line of created with AI?
And it goes back to what I was saying. It's not going to be given to you by a consultant or even you reading the headlines. It's going to be from within, and we're all going to end up with different lines. You're going to see companies pushing in a way that makes you uncomfortable, and you're going to see companies being much more conservative than others. And you have to really design that from within. When you think about creating with AI, I have a panel on Monday, 10 a.m. with Canva at the main stage. And we're talking about how the creatives are really making these decisions. I thought that the creative team would be the most fearful with it. And they actually, at least in my case, they are not. But maybe because they feel they're at the table. The starting of the conversation is really about asking what is their standards, what is it, what are the lines? They establish the lines. And then I bring the tools to the team within those lines. And you as a consumer, you're going to react the way you want to react. And some companies are going to push your buttons on purpose because they want a reaction. And other companies will be working really hard to not lose your trust over this. So what I'm talking about here in plain terms is this is all human in the loop. Okay, I get really nervous if you look at headlines from years ago. You had Fortune 100 CEOs very loudly saying that they have fired all of their engineers and the AI now can do this. And those headlines are still out there. But now you're seeing more and more companies not speaking this way and really understanding that there's a level of thoughtfulness. And it's really about empowerment of people understanding how to use these tools and creating processes in which they are the arbiter of the tool, and that is a process of authorizing, they are the ones who approve the output and scale down the automation of creative, anything, any kind of content without oversight. Because when you remove the oversight, the consequences, whether it's code or image, or text, the consequences are really serious. And it goes back to that boring part that I explained the different kinds of AI. So the machine learning AI, that's what's called, I'm going to geek out a little bit more. There's two kinds. If you put all of them in one box, they go in two different kinds. Deterministic and non-deterministic, okay? So deterministic is when you can say with 100% certainty that what's going to say can be trusted. And non-deterministic, you kind of don't know. You're going to have a hunch, you're going to have like a percentage, but you kind of don't know. So with Gen AI, if I tell in the beginning, not in the beginning, last year, all the models, Gen AI was often, they would say that 62% that you can trust it. So if you're in finance and you have an Excel spreadsheet with AI in it, that is 62% accurate. Is that useful? Okay, fine. What if it's 93% accurate? Is that useful? Is it for the finance thing? No. And it's not like the 7% you're going to know when the 7% is happening. You're going to have to keep guessing that the output that was given to you, if it's real. So for you to use Gen AI in situations like this, you have to know what you're dealing with. It's not Gen AI that we're talking about. It's about understanding when you map the process that in this part here, I want something that it creates text. And then when he makes a decision, I want to bring the old AI, the machine learning AI that looks at just as possibilities and gives me a decision, right? A possibility of a decision. So that's why, even though you're not in IT, you have to take a moment, there's so many free courses out there that gives you the basics of these things, that helps you to understand that you have pieces that you can put together to create processes that you can't trust. Otherwise, you're going to be in a situation that you're playing with things and they are not working, and then you're going to end up in the headline that was all the rage of last year, that 86% of all Gen AI, all AI, they said AI, it hurts when they say AI, of all AI pilots are going to be deemed failure by the end of this fiscal year, right? Because they're not thinking things through. Does that make sense?
Of course. So I want to push the conversation forward a little bit. Something that I've heard many times, I'm sure you've heard it. You kind of mentioned this with the creative team, but if I'm giving all of the context to AI and I'm working with it to create new things, am I committing career suicide? Am I ending my job slowly? Is this the end of me that I'm slowly helping this system take over? What is the workforce idea here? Where are we headed?
I think it's really the mindset. You have to decide for yourself right now. When you look at this, and it doesn't matter, you can be a tech, you can be me working in AI. You have to decide that if you are in a landscape in which you are fungible, you are someone that can be replaced by anything or anyone, or you are in a position that you are non-fungible. I'm going back to the blockchain days here. That there's an aspect of you that cannot be replaced by anything or anyone. And many people, in the way they conduct their work, they could be non-fungible, but they're doing things in a fungible way. They're not highlighting in the process to their managers, to their leadership, all the thinking points. They're not really highlighting the strategy of it. And when they're using AI in the organization, they're not positioning AI as a tool of the team that thinks and strategizes. They're not dividing the thing in thinkers and doers, right? The team in thinkers and doers. That is your protection. As if you are really above 50% doer rather than thinker, can you change things a little bit? And if you can't, there is another space that you can create. If a lot of what you have to do in your job is do, not think, can you then be the manager of the doing? Can you learn enough AI that you can manage these apps that work for your team, and you kind of an AI employee in a way, an AI exec in a way. So now you're managing the doing, and those people are much, much safer. I talk to my daughter a lot, who is entering the workforce now, that something that happened recently, like we have a position, you have, so many of you have this, thousands of people applying for a job, and right now everyone looking the same, like people that are in the entry level, and they very smart people with MIT degrees and incredible GPAs. But in the landscape of AI, I have people that say, I want to work in your team, and they don't even took the time to take a basic certification of basic AI, right? So something that's going to happen more and more, that these things are going to be requirements. And if we all step away from our jobs today, and if we will try to regain our jobs and knock and let me back in, are we going to need to show up skills that we cannot prove right now? So while you have the job today, develop the skills right now.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I think the summary of what you said is that you have to use AI, and you got to become...
There's no way around it.
No way around it. And, one thing for those who label themselves a one and a two, using AI, prompting something, and not being a human in the loop to make it better or stronger is also a huge risk, which is just sending something that AI did, then you're certainly not relevant in this world. But where I want to go to is the future. Okay, AI is happening so fast. It's scary, it's exciting, it's everything. But what is the edge of AI? Where are we in the AI timeline? What are we in the first inning for a sports analogy? Where are we in AI in the world?
Okay, I love that. Have any of you heard of singularity? Can you raise your hand? Okay, cool. So I started my journey in tech having a very, very weird start. I was executive producer of the Singularity Summit, and I have never been in that world before, so it was a crash course. I know, right? I worked for Peter Thiel and Ray Kurzweil, and I did not know who they were when I met them. It was crazy. It's like meeting royalty and not knowing that they are royalty. What those people do and did is that they imagined the world way back 20 years ago. They imagined this world in which technology will be smarter than us. And they not just imagine it, but they make sure that happens as fast as possible. The initial goal was 2026, right? But the timeline got pushed a little bit. Thankfully, it got pushed a little bit. But it's not that far. I think it's pushed by a few years. It's like around, I think the consensus is around 2030 right now. And in the singularity world, it's divided in, we all going to die, this is going to be terrible, it's going to be RoboCop, or this is going to be beautiful. Right now in AI, you also have that division. Reid Hoffman, one of the founders of LinkedIn, he's on that the world's going to be better, and he wrote a great book about this, and there's a lot of books coming out this year about if you really take this position that AI is not happening to you, but AI is something I am doing things with, then you can create this Reid Hoffman positive world that we're going to see the cure of cancer the next couple of years in a pervasive way. There's so many things that we're going to see less deaths by auto accidents, right? Because we're going to have more cars, they're automated cars, and jobs shifting into other roles, and you being excited that things are shifting and you're shifting with it. But if you stayed on the other side of doom and gloom, and that AI is being done to you, what you're also doing is stepping out of the decision, stepping out of the room where it happens and not being part of the decision. You're deciding every day. You're deciding which tools are you using. When an organization adopts a tool, are you an adopter of that tool? Are you using that tool? In your personal lives, what subscriptions are you paying for? What's your perception of certain tools? You are part of the conversation as of now. And one thing that is a sidestep, but I mentioned earlier in the women's brunch is that 1 in 4 women have decided to not be part. They're like, oh, yeah, it's cheating. I'm not going to do it. Please don't do that, because we need your representation. So this thing is done right. And if you have reservations around it, stay in the conversation and gain the understanding of what this is. Don't step away. So this world is built with you to reflect you. Does that make sense?
Of course. I'd love to just one more interactive step for, you mentioned AI optimists, AI doomers. Just curious from the crowd, raise your hand if you're an optimist. Okay, wow, okay. Any doomers in the crowd? Okay.
That's okay. That's okay.
Okay.
That's okay. And the pessimistic and the optimist people, if you want to have your views either confirmed or challenged, if you go on LinkedIn and send me a DM, you can just write, oh, send me the books or something that reminds me of this moment. I can send you the list of 4 books that were launched the past 2 weeks. They are really, really cool. So these books are really talking about soft skills, how you can use the creative thinking to lead in AI, and I've been learning a lot through these books. They less technical. There's one technical book that's really good that I'll put in the list for you, but they are all books that non-IT execs will enjoy and understand.
So AI hype is huge right now. It's the name of this panel. It's every panel. It's everything that's happening in South by. One thing that I'm genuinely curious about is how long will AI hype last? Are we going to be saying AI this and AI that forever, or is it just going to be a part of our world and it'll be underneath the conversation soon?
No one knows the exact answer, but I'm going to give you my guess. Remember in the beginning that I told you about the different kinds of AI? I think the next time that we're going to freak out is because right now we are still freaking out about Gen AI, and we're going to continue freaking out about Gen AI for a little bit. The next time that we're going to freak out, if we freak out more than we're freaking out right now, we're going to stop calling this AI with hype in the way that we're doing right now. I think that's going to be deep learning. I think deep learning is going to challenge us again. Even people like me who are completely at peace and serene right now, deep learning is going to make me go, whoa, because I want to see the tone of how it's going to be rolled out. Is it going to have some regulation around it, right? So right now, you see that Gen AI doesn't have regulation at the federal level as much, but that's okay. There's regulation in Europe. There's regulation at city level. There's also companies talking about guardrails and committing to guardrails. So I'm feeling good right now. But the leaders of deep learning, they're going to unleash something that's unprecedented. There was a really cool talk yesterday. It was really cool by one of the professors of UT Austin from the engineering department. I wish you had all seen it. It took me a little bit of courage to go because it was super dense. It was very robotics oriented. I'm not an IoT robotics engineer, but it was really cool to be exposed to it. His goal was that in 2 years, and he's been working on this for quite a long time, he wants to create a soccer team of robots that plays better than the Brazilian soccer team. Right? That plays better than a human. And I'm like, whoa, as a Brazilian, I got first deeply offended by this. I told him, like, whoa, hang on a second. Deep learning is what freaks me out. And if you ask someone like this, why are you doing this? Why are you discounting the human aspect? Why are you minimizing this in us? Because it creates a sense of uneasiness, right? In his mind, he's curing cancer. Because that robot that's able to create that dexterity is able to do so much good in healthcare. So he's using soccer as an excuse to achieve that learning. And the whole talk was about the kind of machine learning that he's doing for the robots to get smarter and smarter and smarter. He showed the footage of the soccer game a few months ago and the one a year ago, how it's getting better and better and better. Right now, where the robots are is if there's a human with them, a human in the loop, they can play a game. If they by themselves, it's a mess. It's ridiculous. So it just shows the tone of the situation right now. Like people that are really driving this, most of them, they deeply believe that we're going to thank them later and we're going to be happy for it.
Can you just in one sentence explain what deep learning means? Like what does that even mean?
Yeah, so I'm going to keep it non-technical, okay? Imagine that imagine like right now you hear conversations about how AI takes a lot of processing power, right, to compute all these tokens. So when you write something on ChatGPT, depending on what you're asking, if it's really complicated, everything requires tokens. Almost like like cents. You got to pay. There's a price for it. Sometimes you're not paying for it, but someone is paying for it. And when it's free, it's because the company is paying for you to acquire that habit of asking. So it becomes a need in your life. We've been through this so many times. Social media, so many other things. But with deep learning, it's much more energy, much more tokens. And imagine asking a question and having to wait days for it to get answered because the computing is much deeper, is much more processing power. The problems that are solved are quantum physics problems. Problems that humans are not able to solve right away. And that's why, like, for instance, when you think about, I think China announced that this year they were able to create a cure for diabetes. So that's the kind of medication that's created with deep learning computing, right? So that's what deep learning is.
Okay, we're at time, but just as a summary of this conversation, AI is an enormous range. It can get really complicated. If you are feeling like you're at the one on the scale right now, be a human in the loop, bring unique data, create workflows and orchestration, and you can one day lead an enterprise AI team.
For sure. For sure. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Liz.